Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Michael Richards with Elite Athletic Performance. This is the first video in a series of videos that we're going to do to try and help out the guys out there, the coaches that are charged with the off-season and the in-season development of their teams. I consult with several teams across the country and the state and the country, and this is kind of a mesh. These series will be kind of a mesh of the things that I run into and the questions that I get and the things that I see that need help. We've got several topics that we've been working on, and all of them seem to kind of come back to this topic first, so we need to get that taken care of, and then we will be able to get the rest of that content out. So first one, this will end up, we'll end up back at this concept a lot, so we needed to get this taken care of. So the energy systems of the body, and really what that boils down to is conditioning and things like that. So if you have just stumbled across this video and you don't know who I am and you care, you can go over to our website, eaperformancellc.com, and check that out. If not, we can get on with it. So what is an energy system? The energy systems of the body are basically the body's response to physical activity. So, and as far as coaches go, we only really care about the explosive movements, the sport specific type stuff that we do. So, obviously there's an energy system for everything that we do, but me standing here right now, the energy system that's delivering energy for me to stand here is really not of any importance to us. So don't get too far down that rabbit hole when you're thinking about that. Just worry about what provides the explosive energy. So basically, the body has three energy systems: the phosphagen system, the glycolytic system, and the oxidative system. You don't need to know those names. It doesn't matter. I very seldom use those names. Really, honestly, I refer to them as gears, like gears in a transmission. That's not a perfect analogy, but it is what it is. It works for what we're trying to do. You don't really care about the ins and outs and all the increment details. You just need to know a little bit better understanding of the energy system so you can help apply it to your teams and build better teams, healthier teams, and more successful teams. Why is this information important? You need to have a basic understanding of the energy systems to properly prepare your athletes, and frankly, I found that this is the one that gets butchered the most. And I've always used the example, look, if nobody's pointing fingers here, if I were to go out and I was charged with running a practice for your team, and a parent was watching, or somebody that didn't really know anything about baseball or whatever they were watching, they'd be like, yeah, it's a practice. But if you watched, you would be able to rip me apart, right? And rightfully so. It's not what I do. I run a facility, not a team. So it's kind of the same thing when I get a kind of a bird's eye view of what's going on in a lot of weight rooms. It's just, you're doing your best. It's not what you do. So nobody's pointing any fingers. We're all just going to get on the same page. The other reason that these are so important to understand, when conditioning is used incorrectly, it will lead to one of two things, and possibly both. One of two bad things, I should say. Best case scenario is improper conditioning renders a team to a constant state of fatigue. Fatigue masks athleticism. It dulls your ability to output, okay? So obviously that's bad. You want to be as athletic as possible. When an athlete is fatigued, they can't be as athletic. It's just the way, and I know a lot of people will double back down on conditioning for that. I promise you that is not. There is a better way, and I can show you about how to do it, all right? Worst case scenario is that's when those teams get bit by the injury bug. And I know people feel like the injury bug is something that, just bad luck this year. Not so much. It's usually not as much of a coincidence as people would like to think that it is. So it's usually a very over-conditioned, fatigued team that gets bit by the injury bug. So, and then really in layman's terms, like I mentioned earlier, I refer to them as gears as much as I do like energy systems. I don't really like to use big words if I don't have to. So we have three gears. The vast majority of sports are played in what I refer to as the body's first gear. This is really, really important. Okay, the vast majority of conditioning used for sports is completed while the body is in what I refer to as the third gear. Okay, due to the nature and sheer length of time the body is in motion when completing traditional conditioning methods such as jogging, running poles, timed miles, sprints without ample rest, high intensity CrossFit type WODs, etc., etc., all of these being third gear activities, the body will literally make itself a lower performer in first gear, the important gear, in order to make itself more efficient in third gear. That is very important to understand. Basically, you're preparing for the conditioning, not the game. Like the body is like, it doesn't know the difference. It has no idea. All it knows is what it endures, right? So if it's being put through a lot of conditioning, it's going to get better at the conditioning. Well, the conditioning is nothing like the game being played. So that's why I quite literally say improper conditioning is literally making your players worse at baseball and softball. Third gear, basically your body, the human body, will steal from first gear. It will rob first gear of its ability that we need it to have so bad and make it better at third gear. That's what's happening. So that's why I say you are literally making your athletes worse with improper conditioning. Okay. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the phosphagen system, first gear, what activities are used for first gear? Explosive movement up to, that should probably say 12 seconds. Explosive movement up to about 7 to 10 seconds, 12 seconds of high exertion. FYI, baseball is almost exclusively played in this energy pathway. So is football and volleyball. And for the record, when I say baseball, I'm talking about softball too. They're synonymous to me. So most sports, they stay in that first gear range. If you think about it, there are not many sports that something doesn't slow down before 12 seconds happens, right? The only time I can think of in baseball is if you are trying to leg out a triple or inside the park home run, and how many times does that happen? You still don't get over into that third gear at range, even if you did try to do those two things. So, but I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. So what else is first gear? What are first gear activities? Weightlifting for the most part, and the reason I say for the most part, I mean if you are doing like a high intensity CrossFit type WOD, then you would end up not being in first gear. But traditional weightlifting is a first gear activity, and 30-yard-ish sprints, plyometrics, throwing a baseball and hitting a baseball, they're all first gear phosphagen system activities. All right, second gear, this is the glycolytic system, approximately 10 seconds, 12 seconds-ish, and that's a very muddy, unclear area. That depends on the athlete and the situation. There is there's a whole lot of weeds to get into on that. Just like, it's just easier to leave it as it is. But approximately 10 to 12 seconds of exertion, up to 60 seconds is the glycolytic system. Soccer, basketball, lacrosse could potentially slip into this gear on occasions. It's some muddy water there, so don't worry too much about second gear. Okay, definitely don't try to train for it. Like you want to make sure the first gear is in the best shape it can be in. Okay, now third gear. This is the oxidative system, the aerobic system, some people would call it. Approximately 60 seconds and beyond of physical exertion. Jogging, sprints, without rest, timed miles, WODs, flush runs. And for the record, the use of the term WODs is actually not fair to the CrossFit community, because that makes it sound like it's always these red-lined workouts that they do. Like, the CrossFit community is actually, when you get to a good box, I really like CrossFit, and I don't want to bag on it today, but people in the real world refer to high intensity barbell workouts as WODs, which is really not fair, like I said, because a WOD in CrossFit literally could be a 1 rep max, and that's it for the day. It's a workout of the day. But people inaccurately refer to high intensity barbell exercises and just conditioning in general as WODs. So it is what it is. Flush runs, things like that. The only other activities I can think of that are oxidative system activities or third gear activities are cross country, marathons, and triathlons. There's no baseball, no softball, no football, nothing like that in here. Okay, so serious question. If you're a baseball coach, would you rather have, or a softball coach, would you rather have a team full of guys or girls that can run a fast mile? Or do you want a team full of guys or girls that can perform tons of highly explosive, powerful movements without becoming fatigued over the course of a 2-hour period? Which one would you choose? Of course, everybody said 2. All right, don't fall into the in shape trap. We ran a mile at practice today. I just want to make sure they're in shape. It's better than nothing. Like, this is about as harsh as I'll get. Look, better than nothing is the battle cry of the lazy. All right, there's too much good information out there. There's no sense in that. We are all better than that. So, don't fall into that trap, please. You're better than that. We owe it to our guys. It's just there's no need in that. Okay, so a couple of graphics here to look at. This is the exertion level, a hypothetical example of a hitter. All right, the at-bat results in a double being hit on the 5th pitch of the at-bat. It's a 2-2 count. It's really important to notice these little columns, these vertical columns right here. Those represent the time that passes in between each pitch, right? Because this is where a lot of people get confused and mixed up with what they need to be doing. All right, so first pitch of the at bat, 1-0. He doesn't swing, so there's no. I call them energy blips. There's no blip of energy there. All right, so because he just took the pitch, he didn't do anything. All right, second pitch, foul ball. Right, there's a little blip, a little higher blip of energy. Now keep in mind these yellow columns right here are representing time passing in between each pitch. Okay. So this is the catcher throwing the ball back to the pitcher grabbing his crotch and all that stuff that he does, and then he's getting ready to go again, okay? So foul ball, 1-1 count, swing and miss, so another blip of energy right there, 1-2 count. Next pitch is a ball. He takes, spits on that one. All right, now, 5th pitch of the at-bat right here. He swings. It's a double to left center, close play at second, so effort level remained high. So that's why this blip of energy is higher and longer right here. Now, it still didn't go over 12 seconds for him to get to second base. If it did, then obviously it was not a double. So unless we're playing Little League. So that is a really good representation of how to condition or what type of energy demands you have, maybe to illustrate the first gear versus third gear thing that I'm talking about. So now we're going to go to another graphic hypothetical example of a pitcher, 7 innings pitched. Pitchers are super easy to predict. I mean, they're the ones in control. And I'm guessing at these energy demands, these blips, probably should be up here around a 5 or a 6. But regardless, it's very predictable. So you've got a blip of energy, 13 seconds approximately, blip of energy, 13 seconds, blip of energy. This dude's on fire. This is a 7-pitch inning. Got out of the inning really fast. But you get what I'm saying right here. That's what his energy demands in that game look like. Now he's going to go in the dugout and sit for a while. Hopefully he sits for a while while his guys score him some runs. So, all right, now this is where it gets interesting. All right, 15-yard sprints with a 1-to-3 work to rest ratio. All right, big blip of energy right here. Take about 3 seconds to run that ish. All right, that's 3 seconds right there. Blip of energy. Then we give them 3 times the amount that it took to run that. We give them 3 times the rest. That's only 12 seconds, okay? And then they sprint again. High energy, very fast energy output, right? This is a first gear conditioning method, right? They never get out of first gear while they're conditioning. Actually, if their heart stays super elevated, if they're which I'm going to tell you right now, this is a very miserable way to condition. I know it looks easy, but it is terrible because your first gear is not conditioned because all of the conditioning you've done in your life has ended up in third gear. So we are allowing the body to stay in first gear and conditioning that energy system with stuff like this. And that is super important to understand, right? So look how well this mirrors the demands of a game of baseball right here, all right? Now, I'm going to clip to the next one, and hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm seeing, all right? This represents traditional conditioning. One of these things is not like the other, right? This is a dull, constant output of energy. There's nothing here, right? There's no blips. This is a constant. It's not even a high blip. They're not even really they're not even really conditioning their output ability. They're just getting better at slopping through low intensity work. I mean, you couldn't possibly get any farther away from the game of baseball than that. So keep that in mind. I'll send these graphics out to you if you are interested. Hopefully that makes some sense to you. If it doesn't, hopefully this will help. And like I said, we're going to be going back and forth to this concept a lot. So, if it spurs any questions, I would really appreciate you leaving a comment in this video. That will help with the algorithm. Liking and subscribing to our channel will also help with the algorithm, and I really appreciate that. If you would, if you think we suck, then you don't have to do any of that stuff. So, I always say, when I have a microphone in my face, I always say I'm going to take the time to do this, so I've got a couple of just quick thoughts that I'm going to leave at the end of each of these videos. The quick devotional that I like to give here is I just wanted to point out that there is absolutely nothing in your past that Jesus Christ wouldn't love to forgive you for. There's nothing you've done that's bad enough that he wouldn't love to forgive you for. And I've heard people say that before. Believe me, we all have baggage, and he's already paid for it all, and all you've got to do is ask him to forgive you, and he would love to do it. So leave you with that. Like I said, like and subscribe. Please comment and let me know what you think. If this video spurred any questions, please ask them so I'll know what you're needing and what we can help you with. Also, be on the lookout for some potential products that we've got coming out. We're trying to figure out what we want to offer, whether it's ebooks or webinars or both, or just some infographics or what. So we're trying to figure out how to go about that in the future. So let us know what you think. I appreciate you watching. You guys have a great day.